Hello and welcome to Labour Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week edition of the program, we'll be focusing on several issues that affect Nigerian workers, especially the removal of the fuel subsidy and what Labour leaders are saying about this development. We also have news stories for you. We will be right back.
It's the 19th Rain School, organized by the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC, with the theme Building Trade Union Resilience for Emerging Challenges and Opportunities in the World of Work. The Deputy President of NLC, Aldo Titus, who represented the President of the Congress, spoke about the challenges facing workers and stressed the need for trade unions to build stronger labour movement.
In order to bolster the capacity of the workers at shop floor level, the NLC will do all it can to ensure that grassroots workers' education program, like the state level school, which was established by the NLC in 2005, is maintained and sustained. We are also making effort to revive the trade union education program, like the certificate in labor laws and labor relation, which the NLC ran in collaboration with the university.
Reacting to the theme of the conference, the General Secretary of NLC, Emmanuel Uwoja, explained that to build a resilient trade union and tap into the new opportunities in the world of work, there is a need for capacity building. He stressed that education will address threats to welfare and well-being of workers in the country.
We will continue to push for what is right. And what is right is it is very irresponsible for Nigeria to continue to import petroleum products. What is right is it does not make sense for us not to have a well-defined public transportation process. What doesn't make sense is you will not be thinking of increasing your own wages when the normal worker is still battling to get a 30,000 naira minimum wage implemented. So for us, those are the issues. It's not about whether you're a Christian or a Muslim. It's about all of us, humanity. What do we expect from a working government?
During the opening ceremony of the Rain School, participants stressed that majority of the challenges facing workers and the masses include rising unemployment rates, insecurity, kidnapping, corruption by government officials, high inflation, among others.
The Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, has on Tuesday, the 18th of July 2023, held its 66th annual general meeting at the NECA House in Ikeja. The aim of the general meeting was to receive the report of the Governing Council, the statement of the financial provision as at December 31st, 2022, and to appoint its auditors, amongst others.
The Employers Association, as well as Labour, should also help people with that class on how to be transparent, how to be open, how to be accountable to Nigerians. And we can learn from the way NECA brought out this record of performance, your accounts and everything. So I will suggest that we should have, political class, political organizations, or now to run organizations. The crisis rocking the ruling party now, just like any other party, is the problem of accountability. Maybe if they are come to your AGM, they will know what it takes to retire as elected leaders.
The event also featured discussions around the current status quo in the country as it relates with the organized private sector. The Director General of NECA, Adewale Oyerinde, in an interview expressed concerns on the recent actions of the federal government concerning issues such as increase in electricity tariff, continuous inflation, low income for the average Nigerian worker, and constant increase in fuel price.
This is coming at this time. We are talking at the time when there is proposal to increase tariff on electricity. We are coming at the time where inflation is still increasing. We are coming at the time where the disposable income of an average Nigerian is going down. And the fuel price also going up adds all to the burden that not only Nigerians are having, but also organized businesses. Once disposable income goes down, the ability of an average Nigerian to purchase, government should not kill those that is trying to save. So whatever action the government need to take, we need to take those actions now, so that we can actually bend the curve or cut the curve and focus on issues concerning growth.
Nigeria is due for a review of the current minimum wage because it's not something that people should actually live. They can't even live by it. But the current realities on ground I do not make any imminent increase in minimum wage feasible, in the sense that Nigeria is not making enough money now. I mean, you know that already we use about 95% or thereabout to service our debt. Even the current minimum wage, some states have not been paying, some states have not even owing salaries and all of that. Some are even talking of ghost workers. You understand? And then with the current realities, the issue of the floating of the naira and the removal of fuel subsidy, these have even caused more problems. And I think what we should be talking about, in as much as those policies are very good, what we should be talking about are the need for government to expedite action on the palliative measures, making life better for the citizens. Look at the issue of transport. Some people have talked about. We're talking about getting CNG powered vehicles. We're talking about getting electric powered vehicles and all of that. So then we're also already the federal government is also talking about the president has declared the state of emergency in the food sector. Yes, let's boost agriculture. Let's create more jobs. Let's increase productivity. And then the issue of it will be easy, when you have jobs, when there's productivity, when the naira has become, strengthened.
What government needs to do is look for policies that will help to cushion the suffering of the people. The people are really going through tough times as a result of the subsidy removal. And like I said, we can't continue to subsidize PMS for some very few people. So government has taken a very bold step, but at the same time, it needs to look at the outcry of so many Nigerians. Things are really tough for Nigerians, and these social amenities or social facilities will also help to cushion the effects. We shouldn't even look at the federal government alone. We also need to look at the states. What are the states doing? Because whatever we're going to make from the subsidy removal is also going to be shared to the states. So states also need to put in welfare programs for the people in their states to help them cushion the effects of this hardship or subsidy removal. So it's the right step in the right direction. Like I said, government should look at increasing the minimum wage. And if you ask me, the minimum wage shouldn't be less than 250,000 naira for a start. And because if you're removing subsidy, you're saving a lot of money for the people. So this money should be plowed back into the system, into the lives of Nigerians, so that we can begin to feel the impact of government and governance at various levels, be it the federal level, be it the state level, be it the local government level. So I believe the government is looking into it and see how they can ameliorate the sufferings of the people.
On the Profile interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with the National President of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria. The National President brought us up to speed on what the Nigerian workers are saying as regards the demand for a new national minimum wage and other issues. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here again.
There is this clamor for a new national minimum wage because of the inflation that we are all experiencing in the country at the moment. Are there any conversation towards ensuring that there is a committee set up to look at the indices, and probably there will be recommendations that will be made to ensure that Nigerian workers earn a living wage.
Well, thank you, Sharon. I think the issue of national minimum wage is a constitutional matter under exclusive lists, which you are aware. The one that came in 2019 with this present socioeconomic challenges added to the removal of fuel subsidy that has been eroded even before the removal of the fuel subsidy. So we are very hopeful. Don't forget that the TUC has earlier sent a memo to the government demanding for 200 naira, 200,000 naira national minimum wage. Even at that, the current socioeconomic challenges, 200,000 naira national minimum wage is eroded. And so you don't also expect that the union will sit down and then government will give the workers whatever he likes. It is not in international best practice. The issue of national minimum wage has to come with a collective bargaining, agreement to arrive at that, and then we look forward to see the implementation. I think that is the best way to go about it.
So far, has there been any tripartite conversation? Because we know that when there's conversations to be made as regards workers, we're talking about government, we're talking about employers of labor, and we also have leaders of unions that would be in this conversation. I remember very clearly that when the removal of fuel subsidy was announced, that there was a meeting not with the tripartite body but with labor and government. Is there any updates on this conversation or meeting that has been held? What should Nigerians be expecting?
When the removal of fuel subsidy was announced by Mr. President, and Labour was invited after the announcement, the presidential committee met with Labour. We also made our position known because the issue of Labour is on tripartism, like you rightly make mention of. And anything short of that, the outcome is defective. So when we look at what was put on the table, we also demanded for, the terms of reference of the committee so that we can look at how to make our position known. And if you look at it, we didn't take strike as an option because the conversation would be the best issue in dialoguing, But as we were invited again, and again, we look at the subcommittees where we also make the 5 subcommittees where we also send a representative to it. So we expected that the subcommittee will have also continued in their meeting, which to the best of my knowledge, because I'm a member of subcommittee, it has not really forthcoming. And we also expected that the committee that was given 2 months to come up with the report, when the work is ongoing, work in progress, before we had over the radio, television, newspaper that Mr. President have gone ahead to approach the National Assembly with that. So the outcome of the committee, will have been a collective agreement. But for now, the committee have not submitted a report. The subcommittees, to the best of my knowledge, the one that affected us have not really met. But, Mr. President is already going around to start the implementation of the palliative, which is not what should be expected from a government that understand, social dialogue. So that is where we are for now.
The federal government of Nigeria announced the removal of fuel subsidy. Can you bring us up to speed on how your members have been reacting to this? And what would be your recommendation as an experienced labor leader towards policies or palliatives or anything that would just make Nigerian workers or citizens live a better life?
There's something we call fail need in development communication, and there's something we call action need. Fail need is what the government think for the people. Action need is what the people want from the government. So what government is doing now is fail need, which is not the best when you want to change the narrative. So the increase in the pump price of petroleum product have automatically set the workers and the entire Nigerian economy on fire. On fire in the sense that every living Nigerian today knows that the Nigerian economy depends on fuel. And for you to run your private business, to run your home, for the informal economy, even offices, where you don't have stable power supply, you depend on fuel, either diesel or petrol. So today, as we speak, the pressure from our members to go to office, to return back home, it is indeed an ill wind that have blown neither government nor the people any good. How will you work for 2 days and expect productivity? So, for government to be productive, we need to look at the palliative to caution the effect. And that was why the presidential committee was set up. But it's unfortunate that the outcome of that committee is what we are waiting for, and government decide to take action where they don't supposed to. What government need to do, as a matter of fact, is that they should allow the committee, which was tripartite in nature, to come up with the outcome. Then they now set up strategic implementation or action plan to implement the outcome. That will be good enough, because that will take holistic concern of the Nigeria rather than divide and rule, which is an ill wind that will blow nobody any good. Again, the issue of distributing money to Nigerians' household is no longer fashionable. You can only borrow money for productive venture, not to dash. When you depend on the World Bank or IMF, their thinking is because they have an economy there that works. But Nigeria is not like that. And of course, they cannot dictate to us because we have been on the dictate since the 80s. That brought about structural adjustment program during the military era that brought the economy now. Devaluation, then Naira used to be at par with the dollars. They came with open market operation. All those policies of the World Bank have never worked in Nigeria. So the earlier Nigerian government realized I jettison their Greek gift, the better for us. If you want to borrow me money, allow me to do what I want to do with that money. You can't borrow me money, which you know I'm going to pay back with interest, and you are now detecting, share it to the poorest of the poorest. We've also interrogated the social register. What is the credibility of this social register? The last administration came up with what they call conditional cash transfer, 5,000. And food feeding program. I think we should not be wasting time coming up with policies that are not given any productive tendencies to Nigerians. It is not good enough. It is not good enough. So we feel that Nigerian government should come out with policies that can create opportunity for the transportation sector to thrive. That will crash the high cost of transportation by the transporters. If we have buses, forget about what used to be in the past. In the present day reality, we have electric buses, which can be pumped into the economy, and then the price of transport fare will crash. And that will help goods and services, thereby reducing the effect of the removal of fuel subsidy. Nigerian workers will be able to go to their offices. Stop telling us, go 2 days and stay at home. No. It is going to be counterproductive because employers of labor have hidden agendas. We appreciate what happened in Edo State. They provided buses, and even when they say come to work 3 days, they still work remote the other days. That is a welcome development. That is a welcome development. Other than just sitting down, throwing money, and so on, is not in the best interest of Nigerian economy.
There are some state governments that have already taken a cue from the indices that we have out there, and they've increased the minimum wage in their states. States like Lagos, Edo, and most recently, the Imo State governor also announced an increment in workers' salary. How would you react to this? Is this the right step in the right direction?
Yes, they are being proactive. We thank them for that. But let them also know when we conclude the negotiation, when the negotiation for minimum wage will start and conclude, that they will also implement what we are after. Because you can see from the last national minimum wage, a lot of states became recalcitrant, even though they were members of the committee. So in as much as we tell them they have done well, they should also bear in mind that what will be agreed at the end of it will be implemented by them.
Talking about consequential adjustments in in the salary of workers, I know that during the last minimum wage discussion, which is about 5 years ago, many state governments did not, or they refused to implement the consequential adjustments in the salary that was negotiated and signed into law by the government. How would you react to this? With this development, what more should these workers be expecting from the government, owing to the fact that we have inflation and so many other things that affect them?
You see, this consequential adjustment they are talking about in the last minimum wage is already eroded. We don't even need to talk about that again, because what we are looking at is the future of what we are expecting, because the removal of the fuel subsidy has automatically changed the dynamics of things. The socioeconomic challenges is so heavy that no worker can survive this in the next few months if intervention urgently are not done by the government.
Finally, talking about peculiar allowances, which was spearheaded by you and which Nigerian federal government workers are already enjoying at the moment. A lot has been said about it, and if there's going to be any possibility of this policy to be taken to the state government level to see if workers at the state level can also enjoy peculiar allowance, which is spearheaded.
Absolutely. You know what, when you look at the issue of labor is under exclusive list, and they set a benchmark, and that what we feel. Any sane government should have even look at that area of the peculiar allowance, because it's going to help the workers, and also it's going to stabilize the workers, at least in the interim, while we are waiting for the national minimum wage. Those allowances are not taxed, are not taxed. In fact, it would have been worse if workers don't even have that peculiar allowance when you look at now. But as I said, there are going to also be windows for several allowances so that, government can breathe and the workers can also breathe. Because as we are talking now, any government that is saying must look into the well-being of its citizens. Anything outside that, no, it means that you only govern yourself, not the people.
Thank you very much for your time. It was an interesting time we had with you.
Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate it.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.